Okay, today I want to look at one of the many victims of Dr. Lucy Hagenow. And Dr. Lucy Hagenow was a character and a half. I should drunk history this woman. Um, but the anniversary of the Dr. Hagenow quackery death that happened on February 15th starts on February 10th when Nina Harding and Logan Pierce, who were university students from very prosperous families, ran away to Chicago and were married in a private ceremony and then took up lodgings in a furnished room. And 4 days later, late in the evening of Valentine's Day, Logan took Nina to the Chicago Lying-In Hospital and just promptly disappeared, leaving her there to die the following night. Um, so warrants were issued for the arrest of the husband and for Dr. Lucy Hagenow. So Logan was laying low. He knew he was in trouble. And this is something I really want people to wrap their heads around. Um, Nowadays, if a woman dies from a botched abortion, generally nobody gets in any trouble. If the quackery was absolutely breathtaking, staggering, appalling, Kermit Gosnell level, then somebody might go to prison for it. Back then, this was murder if a woman died from a botched abortion. It was murder, and the person who committed the abortion could go to jail. In fact, the first person ever sentenced to die in the Illinois electric chair was an abortionist whose patient had died. Now, he got his conviction overturned on appeal and killed somebody else. But the point is, you got in a lot of trouble if you killed somebody. And legal or illegal, the woman's just as dead. But when the abortion is legal, the people who killed her are in a lot less trouble. Um, but at any rate, Logan got a hold of his father, and his father got him a really good lawyer to take care of things for him. And that's when Logan identified Hagenow, who was then 80 years old, as being, um, he said that he had taken Nina to Hagenow's practice, but hadn't known about the abortion until she became ill, which I have a little bit of trouble believing. Hagenow was pretty openly an abortionist. So, and it was easy to find Dr. Hagenow. Her abortion business was an open secret. So she was charged with murder, and Logan was charged as an accessory. And Hagenow, she had already been implicated in the deaths of Louise Durchow, Annie Doris, Abia Richards, and Emma Depp in San Francisco. And she came to Chicago, and she was linked to a lot of abortion deaths. Minnie Deering in 1891, Sophia Kuhn and Emily Anderson in 1892, Hannah Carlson in 96, Marie Hecht in 99. After the turn of the century, Mae Putnam in 05, Lola Madison in 06, Annie Horvitich in 07. And then in 1925, the year that Nina died, evidently good old Dr. Hagenow was having a bad year because in addition to Nina, Lottie Lowry, Jean Cohan, Bridget Masterson, and Elizabeth Welter died under suspicious circumstances, abortions. Dr. Hagenow was linked to those. And the following year, she was responsible for the death of Mary Moorhead. So, and Hagenow was typical of criminal abortionists in that she was a physician. So, and that is something that even if you look at the Planned Parenthood Conference on Abortion in America that took place in 1955, they observed that 90% of illegal abortions were being done by doctors. And this is in keeping with a researcher named Nancy Howell Lee, researched criminal abortions, and she also found out that about 90% of them are done by doctors. So this idea that this was the world of non-physicians isn't true, and even most of the non-physicians had a doctor who was training them, providing them with equipment, and providing backup care. So even though Dr. Hagenow had this string of deaths, we do have to remember that this is prior to antibiotics, prior to blood transfusions. Um, but she was getting away with it, and I'm very interested in finding out exactly what was happening in Chicago that things were so hunky-dory for abortionists and not so much for the women.